Mr Kerr.
First of all, I also pay tribute to Pam Duncan Glancy, who made a very typical quality contribution to this debate in her opening speech. And the truth is that in our consciences, there are none of us in this chamber who can disagree with the substance of what Pam Duncan Glancy said in her speech. We are living in a situation where people in our country are being robbed of hope. And that is an untenable situation. It really is. And to describe the committee's report that we've been referring to throughout this debate, I think quite accurately, as a dossier of failure, really does sum up the situation rather well. And, you know, I struggle, frankly, with the idea of yet another strategy. There was a piece in the Sunday Times a couple of weeks ago where some research had been done about the number of strategies and consultations that this SNP government have engaged in over the last 10 years. And it was something like, on average, more than one a week. And the bulk of those strategies lie gathering dust on a shelf and have not meant that lives have been improved. I was impressed with what Bill Kidd said, because it's also caused me to think, why are we here at all if it is not to improve the lives and the life chances of our fellow Scots? That's got to be why we're here. And that's why Willie Rennie was right when he said that our position on this bill is not a good look, because it looks as if we're saying something that we're not really saying at all. What we're saying is we want real, substantive change. We want an end to this idea that we are robbing Scotland's disabled young people of their hope, because that, as I said earlier, is exactly what we're doing. Yes, of course.
Martin Whitfield.
I'm very grateful to Stephen Kerr to give way on that point. Does he have confidence that the vehicle exists within this Parliament to reach where he wants to go without the availability of legislation?
Stephen Kerr.
Legislation isn't always the answer. I think I would say to Martin Whitfield, it's very tempting to fall into that class of politician that says something must be done, and the something that must be done is we have another bill, another law. We already have a cluttered landscape, that's the phrase that everyone's been reaching for this afternoon, of legislation as things stand. What we need is a change of culture, a change of approach. Because there was an example quoted earlier, I think in relation to the visit we made to Coatbridge, where agencies, government, different levels of government, different functions of government, third sector, businesses, all working together, putting at the centre of their concern and activity the needs of that disabled young person and giving them opportunities. It was Ruth Maguire that I think strikingly concluded her remarks by talking about what Scotland is losing, what we are all losing, because of our inability to create an equality of opportunity for young people who are disabled. Robbing us of that talent is not just a social loss, it's not just a personal loss for the individual concerned, but it's an economic loss as well, and we cannot ignore the situation. So when I hear the Minister say that it will be the end of next year before we can publish a strategy, I'm alarmed at that. And I think it was maybe Ruth Maguire again who said we can't wait, surely, for another year before we see this sort of strategy and the intent of action and outcome that ought to be burdened on that strategy. And I'm afraid that, I go back to that Sunday Times article, I'm afraid this will be kicked down the road. I'm afraid this will be another one of the 500-600 strategies that this government has produced in the last 10 years that does nothing for anyone and doesn't improve anyone's life experience. And having listened to the evidence that was presented to the committee when I had the privilege of serving on it, I can say that it's heartrending. And then we've all got constituents who have also had this experience, where it is draining for the parents. They don't have anywhere to go to. They don't have a single point of help. They don't have someone to look to. They are left often as almost a full-time task to be looking out for their son or their daughter. And they would anyway, but it's a struggle. And our responsibility as parliamentarians is to find a way to lessen the struggle and ease the way and maximise the equality of opportunity that should exist. Now, I'm recognising I'm out of time, and I haven't even referred to my prepared remarks, Deputy Presiding Officer, but I am mindful of the time. I thought that Liam Kerr gave a first-class speech this afternoon because my colleague, with his forensic skills, was able to define exactly why it is that we will not be able to support this Stage 1 bill. And frankly, it is for the very simple reason that the intentions, the outcomes that are desired are all honourable. I cannot speak highly enough of Pam Duncan-Glancy, whose impact on this Parliament is quite remarkable in the 2.5 years that we have all been here. And I congratulate her on that. And to be able to dislodge this government and get them to move in the right direction. Now, something has been started by Pam Duncan-Glancy. And those of us who are in this chamber at the moment, those of us especially who have spoken in this debate, have a responsibility to see that something happens. Because that was the essence of Liam Kerr's speech. Something has to change. And another strategy, another tick-box exercise, is not going to cut it. And with that, I will conclude my remarks.
Thank you.